Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to Confident Women Glow. I'm excited to be here with you because in this episode, I'm going to get into what I call the circle of becoming. And when I say becoming, I don't mean proving, I don't mean performing, I don't mean chasing this perfectly polished, acceptable version of yourself so that other people will understand you. I don't mean any of that. I mean becoming, as in returning to your voice, to your wisdom, to your body, returning to the truth that maybe life taught you had to bury, or you had to explain it away or silence it or dress it up to make it look different just so you could survive. And so for this part one of this series about the circle of becoming, I want to start with self-discovery. And when I say self-discovery, I don't mean creating a brand new identity from scratch. I don't mean that. I don't mean sitting down with a journal and trying to invent a more interesting version of yourself. I mean getting honest enough to ask, what have I been carrying that was never mine? Because a lot of us are confused about who we are because we've been buried. We've been buried under expectations from other people. We've been buried under roles that have been assigned to us. We've been buried under the good girl training, the likability training. We've been buried under family system. We've been buried under survival. And we've been buried under the versions of us that we created so that we could be loved and be safe and be included or be approved of. And at some point, I believe you have to stop asking yourself, what's wrong with me? And start asking, whose bags have I been carrying? And that's where we begin with self-discovery. So let's get into it. Hey, hey, welcome to Confident Women Glow. I'm Mo James, your confidence coach and guide on this journey of self-discovery, self-trust, and self-expression. I believe confidence is more than a mindset. It is a practice. It's about showing up boldly, even when life feels messy, and owning your journey every step of the way. So whether you are in your car, at your desk, or just taking a breath between responsibilities, thank you for letting me speak into your day. Let's get into the episode. Can we take a moment to talk about reflection and growth? I know this journey of self-discovery, self-trust, and self-expression isn't always easy, but having the right tools makes all the difference. And that's why I created the Inner Strength Journal. This isn't just another journal. It's a space for you to connect with your thoughts, honor your emotions, and design your masterpiece life one page at a time. Each prompt in this journal is carefully crafted to help you dig deeper into what matters most to you, to build your confidence, and to take aligned action. So, if you're ready to carve out intentional time for yourself and start designing a life that feels true to who you are, grab your copy of the Inner Strength Journal today. Head over to innerstrengthjournal.com to order yours now. Your journey deserves this space. I think there is a fair amount of women, some of those women might be listening to me right now, are walking around exhausted and calling it confusion. But it's not always confusion. Sometimes the heaviness that you feel is the weight of too many borrowed identities. I mean, you being the dependable one. I mean, people telling you that you're the strong one, or people saying you're the easy one, or you're the forgiving one, or the responsible one, or the low maintenance one, the one who doesn't need that much, the one who always has the answer, the one who will always understand. Listen, some of these identities are useful, may have been useful for a season. They may have helped you survive something. They may have helped you move through certain rooms. They had relevance at some point. They may have helped you keep the peace um, when peace was the safest option. So if you are hearing me call out these identities and maybe you feel shame trying to creep up right now, reject that, because we are not here to shame the version of you that you adapted when that was what you needed to do. We're here, we're here to tell the truth. This conversation is about telling the truth. What helped you survive in one season may not be what helps you become whole right now. That's what we're talking about. There comes a point when the identity starts consuming more than it's giving. It's not giving. Being the strong one is costing you your softness. Being the dependable one is costing you rest. Being the understanding one is costing you honesty. And being the easy one or the low maintenance one is costing you your needs. Your needs aren't getting met. And one day you look up and think, I don't even know what I want, because you have been trained to check the room before you check yourself. I believe that self-discovery begins when you start listening to your own voice beneath the noise, the voice that, hearing the voice. The noise says, be realistic. Don't ask for too much. Don't make it awkward. You should be over that by now. You're being dramatic. You should be grateful. You've already come so far. You've already invested so much. Like all of that, that's a scam. And the thing is, some of those voices that says those things, they're old recordings. Like they're not even new. They are repeats of what a parent said, a teacher, the church, a workplace, a friendship, a community. They are repeats of what, or they're an old version of you that learned how to stay quiet because at that time, speaking up came with consequences. So as you begin this work, don't be surprised if the first clear thought feels like rebellion. Sometimes your truth will feel rude at first because you are so used to abandoning yourself politely. When your voice, that inner voice, starts to come back and return, and you start to get used to hearing it again, you will probably hear things like, I actually don't want to do that. I don't feel safe with this person. I'm tired of pretending. I want more. I need help. I miss myself. I don't want to be available like this anymore. That's what you can sound like. And that is information. That's information, and it's a signal that it's time to drop the bags that you've been carrying. And I'm not saying to throw your whole life away. I mean, notice. Notice where your yes has been automatic and you've been performing ease, but secretly building resentment. Notice where your body tightens up and where you've been over explaining yourself. Notice when you've been saying, it's fine, and then you feel heavy for the rest of the day. That noticing is important because you can't release something that you don't name. And so maybe the first bag that you drop isn't going to be a relationship. It could be a belief that tells you that you have to earn rest. Maybe the second bag you drop isn't a job, but it's the belief that your worth depends or is equal to your labor. Maybe you don't drop a family role. Instead, you release the belief that love requires you to erase yourself. Sometimes self-discovery begins with one sentence, one thing that you say to yourself and to others if the situation requires it. You say, I need to think about that, or that doesn't work for me. I'm not available for that. I changed my mind. I'm looking for something different. Now, what I haven't said up until this point that I will say now is self-discovery can be very inconvenient. Like it can upset the apple cart of your life. And I understand that sometimes that's why people don't choose to do it, because it is inconvenient. It is disruptive. But once you hear yourself clearly, I believe you cannot unhear what you have heard. That realization will just become bigger, that you've been participating in conversations that are dishonest, that some of these roles that you've been assigned are just too expensive, that some of these dynamics have only worked because you kept silencing yourself and disappearing, and that will bring grief. I feel like this season we're in, whenever you happen to be listening to this episode, it's an invitation to come back to yourself one honest layer at a time. So take this into your week. 1, you don't have to drop everything today. 2, you don't have to explain everything today. And 3, you don't have to have your whole life fixed by the end of the week. I want to encourage you just to notice what feels heavy right now today and start there. And if this episode met you where you are, I want to encourage you to share it with a woman in your life who is also learning to hear herself again. You can learn more about the Confident Women Glow podcast and stay connected at confidentwomenglow.com. You're not broken. Maybe you've just been buried, and now you have the time to resurrect yourself and come back to you. Look at you listening all the way through to the end. Thank you. If this episode stirred something in you, take a moment today to check in with yourself and ask, what do I know is true for me right now? And if the podcast has been a supportive voice in your week, I'd love it if you left a rating or a review. It helps more women like you find this space. And remember, when you need a gentle nudge back to yourself, you don't have to figure it all out alone. There are resources that can help, and I hope you'll find them here. Until next time, keep glowing, and remember, the safe bet is always you.